We are with Terry Ingano, and he's on the board of directors of the Clinton Historical Society. Thank you for talking to us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So tell us, when was Clinton first settled?
Well, the area was settled only about 20 years after the Plymouth Rock, actually.
Okay.
But the town of Clinton formed in 1850. We were one of the last ones to break away from the town of Lancaster. So Mother Lancaster was formed in, I think, 1640 or something like that. And then all these smaller towns broke away over many years. And, but Lancaster was huge at one time. And then Little Clinton broke away in 1850, March of 1850.
Okay. And I imagine that has something to do with people having a hard time getting to church, or that's later though.
Yes, no, it did. We were different attitudes, different. Clinton was kind of hustling and bustling, a lot of young people. We were forming industries here thanks to the Bigelow brothers. And Lancaster was a little more settled, a little more static, more farming community, something like that.
Okay.
And we were the manufacturing center.
Okay. So I imagine when it was first settled, it was also farming as well?
Oh, yes, yes.
So what brought about the impetus for what was the impetus for the manufacturing?
I think mostly the water, the rivers that you could harness for power. And the Bigelow brothers were from West Boylston, but then they really became central to this town starting around the 1840s, something like that. And that's how Clinton got its wealth and its real start. That the famous inventor, one of the brothers, was Erastus, world-renowned, and he would create looms to mass-produce textiles. And his brother, who was more famous locally, Horatio, he became the businessman, the business agent, whatever. And almost everywhere you look is the influence of both of them, but mostly Horatio. The Bigelow Carpet Company formed here. It was, the world's best carpeting was made right here in Clinton. But the Erastus would create an invention, and the brother would create a company around that invention. And that's what was bringing people here left and right. And that's why it started to booming. This was a booming town at one time.
Wow, okay. What's the population of Clinton?
Right now, it just went over 15,000. So it's always been kind of 12,000, 13,000, and just this year. It's a great place. Property values are still fairly low. They're I wouldn't say inexpensive, but much better, much more inexpensive than all around us.
Is there still a lot of manufacturing in Clinton?
Not as much, and I think what's happened is Clinton has become more of a bedroom town.
So what's the history of this building? And it's called, isn't it called?
This is the Holder Memorial.
Holder Memorial.
It was built in 1904 and by Francis T. Holder. And what happened is around, I think it was 1894, the Clinton Historical Society was formed. Interested citizens realized that, we got to start saving our history, it's our heritage. And so for 10 years, we didn't have a place of our own, but we just, I guess they started collecting historical items and things, but they really didn't have a house of their own. And so it took 10 years, and Mr. Holder, who was raised in Bolton but lived in Clinton, and his parents ran a boarding house at the bottom of the hill here. He grew to be rich and famous and would vacation in Lancaster for some reason, and heard about the plight of the Historical Society, looking for a home. So he came in and he had this place built for $85,000 in 1904, and he turned around and gave it to the Clinton Historical Society. It was never a private home or never anything else but a museum for the Clinton Historical Society. And along with that, a lot of the original furniture you see, I imagine this table was one of them, and a $25,000 trust fund to be used to promote local history. And we've been doing that ever since 1904.
That's amazing. How did he make his riches? Do you
He
know?
made it in the textile industry. He started working for the Bigelows as a very young man and almost immediately was promoted by the Bigelows. And he ended up being president of the Alexander Smith Carpet Company in Yonkers, New York, almost a rival of the Bigelows. But he had a lot of money, and and it's called the Holder Memorial because he dedicated it to his parents. So over our fireplace, we have his picture, and on each side, his mom and dad. And they were Quakers. They were Quakers.
Were they?
Yeah, yeah.
That's so interesting. What other historic buildings do you have in town still?
They're all over the place, but probably our senior center, which is called the COA Center, Council on Aging, was built by John Foster, who was a very early department store owner. And he had 3 or 4 stores all around New England. And he not only built the beautiful Victorian mansion up right above the park, which has been restored and just recently painted, and he's also the one that gave the beautiful fountain in Central Park to the town, the Foster Fountain, which was destroyed in 1938 and an exact replica rebuilt in the 1990s. So it's exactly the same thing. In fact, I think it was, believe it or not, built by the same company from somewhere down south that came up and did the new one. So that's pretty different.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and the Russian Icon Museum is the former Bigelow office. The Clinton Savings Bank started there. Clinton Savings Bank is the oldest bank in the town, formed in 1851 by the Bigelows, and now they're next door, but that's a 1929 building. But one of their early buildings was that one, and that's been completely restored. It's a green building and hosts now the greatest Russian icon collection in North America, I believe. The library is beautiful. That was 1903. The town hall, the original one, burned down, and so the town hall was built in 1909, I think it was. So we have a lot of beautiful buildings, really. Even the elementary school down the road was built to mimic a mill building, brick towers, things like that. Same with Clinton High School.
Well, thank you very much, Terry.
You're quite welcome.
Telling us so much about the town history. It's wonderful.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. Thanks for coming.